Hari Om, Nana. You can unmute and start, Nana.
Yeah, you please open the PDF and relax. I will start. You can rejoin later.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrusham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trivunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Chaiva Tato Jayamudirayet. Brahmara, the PDF, please.
Yeah, Nana, we have a few questions. Is there a difference?
You open the PDF, go to the 422 page. We will attend to the questions.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
This is where we are,
You have read up to this account, no? Anarabdha Phalasa standing in one's account. Up to there you read?
Yes.
Okay, I'll start from there. Yeah, now the questions.
Is there a difference between a Jignasu and a Mumukshu, or are they the same?
Jignasu and Mumukshu. See, Jignasu has got the Icha to know Ishvara. Jnatum Ichuhu.
Not hearing anything.
Okay? He knows, Jignasu knows the way of attaining to moksham. The way of attaining to moksham is only through knowledge, he knows that. Whereas Mumukshu does not know that, he is very keen on getting freedom. Moksho me bhuyat iti tevra ichuhu. He has got the tevra icha. But he does not really and clearly have an idea as to how to obtain that moksha. how to get on to that moksha. He has got a tivra icha, yes. See, the artaha, jignasu, ardhadhi, okay? Artaha, jignasu, ardhadhi. And jnani cha bharatarshabda, that was mentioned in the 7th chapter. If you consider ardhadhi and artaha, ardhadhi and jignasu. Amongst these, the artaha is one who is in some kind of a strife, some kind of a trouble, and he would like to get bailed out of that. He prays to the Lord. He is a mumukshu. Okay? Ardhadhi also is a mumukshu. That is why, because he prays to the Lord and asking the Lord to be an accomplice in his trials to be successful in the effort. He is also a mumukshu, whereas Jignasu prays to the Lord, if only to know who the Lord is. All his prayers are directed towards knowing Ishvara. That is the Jignasu. Whereas mumukshu may not have that. He may be either artaha or ardhadhi. He may not be the Jignasu. That is the difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other?
And with regards to Nitya Karma, here what is repeatedly mentioned is Shastra Vihita Karma, which are like the Agnihotra, Agnistoma, and Sandhya Vandanam and all that. So does it mean only these are included as Nitya Karma, or something that, like it was mentioned earlier, that you pick up something that is that you are able to do regularly on a daily basis, and that becomes your Nitya Karma. I mean, mundane example, Nitya Karma is something which is Shastra Vihita Karma, right? Correct. So even making yourself a cup of tea becomes a Nitya Karma. You're doing it day in and day out. That does not become Nitya Karma.
Wait a minute. That Nitya Karma, you must draw a line here. The Nitya Karma, what is mentioned is Shastra Vihita Karma. Shastra does not say drink tea, drink coffee, don't drink milk, none of these things. Shastra has neither a Vihita Karma in respect of your tea, coffee, nor any Nishidha Karma in respect of other things like milk and things like that. Okay? Shastra Vihita Karma is required to be done. That is the Nitya Karma as far as the Shastra is concerned. But depending on the times, people have kind of modified the Nitya Karma, though not in opposition to the Shastra, based on their convenience and things like that. That kind of a thing. It is perhaps the effect of the times. Kala Dharmam.
Does practice of yoga and meditation also come under Nitya Karma, because that is for Atma Antakarna Shuddhi?
Yoga is not part of Nitya Karma. While it is a good practice, it's a good practice for a pure benefit to the mind. Nitya Karma as ordained by the Shastra does not include yoga. While Shastra has not forbidden yoga.
Okay.
Okay. Now.
Okay, Nana.
You relax for some time. I will keep reading. You can join later.
Fine.
Nitya karmas are similar to the Prayashchitta karma, says the Purva Mimamsaka. Now that he has been cornered, the Purva Mimamsaka reverts to his original argument. He is holding on to a straw now. In the process of living, however, knowingly or unknowingly, we do incur a lot of papa, results of which can be neutralized by expiatory actions, prayashchitta karma. To neutralize the papa karma, the prayaschitta karma is enjoined. While performing the prayaschitta karma, there is some pain involved because in any karma there is pain. Shankara negates this by saying that it is not right to equate Nitya karmas with Prayaschitta karmas in this manner. Because for one thing, this Prayaschitta karma comes into play whenever the Nishiddha karma is unwittingly undertaken. What the Pratishiddha karma or Nishiddha karma was done by you, it incurs sin, and to ward off that kind of a durita, this prayaschitta karma is prescribed by the Shastra. But Shastra does not say you have to keep on doing prayaschitta karma, no. In case required, this is the antidote. Further, he says, to the Purva,
I think there is one para that is missed.
Shankara negates this by saying,
No, keeping this in view, the Purva Mimamsaka says that is not done.
I missed it. Yeah. Keeping this in view, the Purva Mimamsaka says that this pain is the result of previous papa. If previously one performed a papa karma, an antidote, a prayaschitta karma is enjoined by the Shastra to neutralize it. That pain is the result of the papa itself. The result of the very papa, which is the cause of the prayaschitta karma, is experienced in doing the prayaschitta karma. And performing the prayaschitta karma neutralizes this papa. In the same manner, the nitya karmas neutralize the anarabdha duritas. Anarabdha duritas means those things which have not yet started fructifying. Okay? Shankara negates this by saying that it is not right to equate nitya karmas with prayaschitta karmas in this manner. Further, he says to the Purva Mimamsaka that earlier you yourself said that the nitya karmas like yajna, adhyayana, dana, etc. have been enjoined for keeping the life going, and now you say they are for neutralizing the anarabdha duritas. Earlier, the Purva Mimamsaka said what? It is like breathing. I keep on breathing to keep on living. So I keep on doing the nitya karma, etc. to keep on living. That is what he has said earlier, which is being quoted by Shankaracharya. If that is so, Shankara argues, the pain involved in performing nitya karma would also be a result that is caused by the very living that mandates the nitya karma. This is what the prayaschitta, the Purva Mimamsaka said earlier. In that case, it cannot be the result of old papas. That is what he wants to say. And if you say that the nitya karmas are like prayaschitta karma, then there is no difference between a nitya karma and a prayaschitta karma, in that they both are caused by something. But this is not true. The reason for doing the nitya karma is just living, and the reason for doing a prayaschitta karma is a past papa. Both karmas are enjoined, keeping in view a certain reason, a precipitating factor. Neither is the result of previous papa. Roll it up. Prayaschitta is a kind of naimittika karma. Now, I would like to ask all of you. I suppose you are not feeling out of the way listening to this bhashya of Shankaracharya and the objections of the Purva Paksha, etc. If it is interesting, we'll go forward. If it is of any kind of a problem, digesting, listening, then we'll perhaps take alternative course of action. What do you say? It depends on what you people have been talking about this in the Manana class.
Nanaji, I am interested to know.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
No,
Yes, Nanaji, it's very interesting.
I just wanted to know the collective opinion.
Yes, Nanaji, it's very interesting. We would like to
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it'd
Nice
be
of
good
you.
idea to
Okay,
know all the other stuff also.
okay. Thank you
Thank
so
It
much.
clarifies also for all of us. It clarifies what to do, what not to do, and what are the categories of karma. It's very
Very
interesting, Nanaji.
good. Okay, thank you. I'll go forward. Prayaschitta is a kind of naimittika karma. Nobody does the prayaschitta karma unless there is a reason. In fact, a prayaschitta karma is a kind of naimittika karma. Naimittika karma is for the nimitta,
special
something
karma
else
that you do.
Pritar
The
karma.
nimitta in respect to the prayaschitta karma is what? Durita nivaranardham. That becomes a nimitta. Okay? The papa nivaranardham. For example, it is said that if you chant the Rudram, you can neutralize the result of stealing gold. Yaha shatarudriyam adhiyet swarnasteyat puto bhavati. Swarnasteyat. Steya is what? Steya is stealing. Okay? Stealing. How do we know this steya has come in the 3rd chapter? Does anybody remember that sloka? Yajnasishta shana santo muchyate sarva kilbishaihi bhunjate te tabgam papa e pachanchatma karanat. In respect of that, stena was mentioned. Okay? The prayaschitta karma is enjoined keeping in view a cause, nimitta, of some papa karma. See, unlike the nitya karma and also the naimittika karma, which are done on occasion, like the shraddha karma for the piturs, etc., there is no timing and things like that and a reason for the prayaschitta karma. If you have been leading a clean life, a very dharmic life, there's no need for the prayaschitta karma at all. But whenever that kind of a thing happens, it is considered a naimittika karma. Okay? Now the karma that is enjoined just for living becomes like a prayaschitta karma. What does the prayaschitta karma do? It neutralizes the result of a previous action. Similarly, the nitya karma that is enjoined just for living, jivanadi nimittam vihitam karma. This is what the Purvapakshi has said. Okay? Purva Mimamsaka also must have result a phala. Because it is enjoined by the Veda, you cannot say that it has no result. These are beautiful, beautiful bits of information to us. The Veda, why does it ordain you to do certain thing and say, don't do certain other things? It is only with a benefit in mind for you. Otherwise, the Shruti need not come into the way, like it does not come into the way of your laukika karmas. You go by auto to the office, you go by car to the office, it does not say. Is it not?
Correct.
Wherever there is a drushtapala, Shastra does not come in. Wherever there is an adrushtapala, of which you don't know, Shastra knows, but Shastra is not in a position to let you know what that adrushtapala is, because that happens in course of time. Shastra comes in and says, do this, and says also, do not do this. Okay. Because it is enjoined by the Veda, you cannot say that it has no result, nor is it itself the result of a previous karma, just as the prayaschitta karma is not the result of previous karma. Both are enjoined for a reason. They have a cause, nimitta. Therefore, they should have results. The Nitya karmas are enjoined because one is alive. Just to live one's life properly, the Veda says that these karmas are to be done. We cannot say that the Nitya karma itself is the product of previous karmas any more than we can say that a prayaschitta karma is the result of previous karmas. Shankara now makes another point. Shankara makes another point, okay? Here, this I forgot to read. As the performance of Kamya karma is no different from that of the Nitya karma, the pain of Nitya karma will also become a result of Papa. Shankara now makes another point. Besides the prayaschitta karma, there are two other types of karma as we saw, the Nitya karma and Kamya karma. When either of these two karmas is performed, there is pain involved. Agnihotra is a Nitya karma enjoined by the Veda as a Nitya karma for all the three varnas. Now the same Agnihotra ritual can also be done as a Kamya karma for a particular result with a particular sankalpa. Intention, that is a sankalpa, by the one who is performing it. Now, when he does it as a Nitya karma or as a Kamya karma, either way, the pain in performing it is the same. When that is the case, how can you say that only the pain that is caused by the performance of the Nitya karma is a result of previous papas, but the pain of the Kamya karma is not? See, the effort involved in either the Kamya karma or the Nitya karma, both are same. Take for instance the Agnihotra. Agnihotra is ordained as a Nitya karma. You can do the same Agnihotra as a Kamya karma, but the process of doing does not get altered. The effort involved in doing the Agnihotra is the same, no matter whether it is Nitya karma or Kamya karma. While you say Kamya karma gives you a result for the same effort, how Nitya karma does not? You say it only removes the durita. It is illogical. That's the burden of argumentation. Okay. Now, when he does it as an Nitya karma or as a Kamya karma, either way, the pain in performing it is the same. When that is the case, how can you say that only the pain that is caused by the performance of the Nitya karma is a result of previous papas, but the pain of the Kamya karma is not? That should also be the result of previous papa, because the pain experienced is the same. And if that is so, there will be no result for a Kamya karma, because it was used to exhaust old papas, old duritas. Then there will be no such thing as a Kamya karma. Where is that? There is no such thing as a Kamya karma. Since there is no difference between the two types of karma in terms of pain, dukkha, experienced, the pain involved in performing a Kamya karma should also be a result of the wrong actions done in the previous lives. That is one. And the very title, the Nitya karma and Kamya karma, the titles are different. Kamya karma is what? A karma done wishing for some result, Kamya karma. And that itself is getting defeated. When you do the Kamya karma, there's no result at all. Only it is a pain remover. Not pain remover, papa remover, because of the pain that is involved in doing the karma. The contention that the practice of Nitya karma does not produce papa or punya, but it produces pain, which is a result of previous papa, causes another problem. Now suppose I do not do any Nitya karma. What will happen? There will be no pain. Therefore, you will say that the old papas are still waiting there. But when I perform the Nitya karma, the old karma gets exhausted by the very pain of performing the Nitya karma. Therefore, the experience of pain itself is a result of Nitya karma. There is no experience of pain if you don't do the Nitya Karma. Having said that, Nitya Karma does not produce any result, and at the same time, to say that it produces the result of pain is a contradiction. Then roll it
Ranga,
up, please.
can you just read this once again or explain this?
Okay, the entire para? Okay.
Yeah, the entire para. It's a little confusing there.
Okay, yeah, very good, good. See, this entire text for a number of more pages that we have, it is very revealing. It is very revealing to the discerning mind. It is very revealing and useful to the jignasu like us. It is very useful for the mumukshu and jignasu, and for people like us who are finding it difficult to come to a clear-cut understanding of what is right, what is wrong, what is to be done, what is to be avoided, how well to do anything, with what attitude to do anything. All those things are explained very nicely here. Now I'm reading the contention that the practice of Nitya Karma does not produce papa or punya, but it produces pain, which is the result of previous papa, causes another problem. This is the contention of Shankaracharya. Now, suppose I do not do any Nitya Karma, what will happen? There will be no pain. Because as far as the Purvapakshi is concerned, doing Nitya Karma, it involves pain, and the pain that you are suffering will be Durita Pariharam. That is what his contention is. So when I do not do Nitya Karma, there is no pain. Therefore, you will say that the old papas are still hanging there, waiting there. But when I perform the Nitya Karma, the old karma gets exhausted by the very pain of performing the Nitya Karma. Old karma gets exhausted means the old papa relating to the karma. Okay? Old papa, okay, that Durita gets exhausted. But when I perform the Nitya Karma, old karma gets exhausted by the very pain of performing the Nitya Karma. Therefore, the experience of pain itself is a result of Nitya Karma.
That is
This
what
is
I didn't understand. Yeah.
No, this is the contention of the Purva Mimamsaka.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
It
No,
is,
the experience of
so
pain
one
is
has
the
to be
result.
very, very attentive. Which sentence is by whom?
No, I know this is Purva Pakshi, but
Yeah.
this experience of pain itself is a result of the Nitya Karma. Okay.
Correct. That is what he said earlier.
Correct. Got
Nitya
it.
Karma, Nitya Karma means you have to get up early, and it's not an easy thing, especially in winter, and you have to keep on doing it day in, day out, and that is very painful. And the pain that you suffer will knock off some papa that you have acquired. That's what he said. Therefore, the experience of pain itself is a result of Nitya Karma. Having said that, Nitya Karma does not produce any result. This is the contention of the Purvapakshi. And at the same time, to say that it produces the result of pain is a contradiction. When you say it does not have any result, and you also say it produces pain, apparently pain is the result. Why are you saying there's no result of Nitya Karma? Not only that, you also quote the Shastra saying, Shastra has not mentioned any result for the Nitya Karma. And when it has not mentioned, then there's no result. And you say, the result is only pain that you suffer. That is the result. That is the contention of Vedanti. Then there is a further problem. As we mentioned earlier, the Agnihotra can also be done as a Kamya Karma if it is done for heaven, Swarga, or any other particular result, apart from being done as a Nitya Karma. This Agnihotra Karma is the same karma, no matter whether you are intending to do that as a Nitya Karma or as a Kamya Karma. The process of karma, that karma, particular karma, does not get altered at all. And the effort involved also is the same. 100% the same. Only your attitudes are different. Aham nitya karma karomi is one attitude. Aham kamya karma karomi is another attitude. What is that kamya karma for? Swargabhilasha. But the effort is the same. The pain involved is the same. The so-called pain, as mentioned by the Purva Mimamsaka. So-called pain is the same. Okay. What is done in either case is the same thing. So the dukkha involved is the same. Whether doing the Agnihotra takes you to heaven or does not produce anything. The method of doing it does not change, and there are no other additions or subtractions. There is no difference between the Agnihotra as a Nitya karma and the Agnihotra as a Kamya karma, except in the attitude of the one who is doing it. Since the karma is the same, how can you say that one will produce a result and the other will not? Even if you are not interested in it, doing the ritual enjoined by the Veda will produce punya. Doing anything which is Shastra Vihitam, enjoined by the Shastra, it will produce punya. And which is the result? Since you are not interested in that punya, doing the Nitya karma, doing the ritual can give you antakarana shuddhi. The ritual called Agnihotra, as a Nitya karma, when you do that ritual, you are not desirous of any result in particular, but it will give you antakarana shuddhi. Though it is not said so very clearly by the Shastra. Where is this? Antakarana shuddhi. But at the same time, even though you are indifferent to it, punya will be getting accumulated in your name. It is like your father saving money for you. Even though you do not care for it, he goes on piling it up in your name. Just because we are not interested in certain things, it does not mean that they do not happen. Karma will produce a result. And there will be punya for a Vedic karma. You can't wave a hand and hit somebody else and there is no result. Like Shankaracharya is going to give another example. You can't throw a pebble in a pond and say there should not be any ripples. There will be ripples. And there will be some jalacharas who will be disturbed by that. That is the result. You can't make an action and say, I don't want a result. You may not have intended the result, but the result will be there. It is the nature of the karma. The point here is that
Nana,
there
I
is
can
no,
take over, Nana.
a little more, okay?
Okay,
A little more,
okay.
I will give you. The point here is that there is no moksha by karma. That is the point to be made. And there's no moksha by karma because of what? As explained earlier, karma is ajnana janitam. And the pratibandhaka for moksha is ajnanam. When ajnana janitam karma you do, how can it have a result of giving you moksha when it is a daughter of ajnana, and ajnana is not opposed to jnana, and jnana is required for moksha? How can you ever attain to moksha by any kind of karma? That is the point. The point here is that there is no moksha by karma. This plan of doing nitya karma and avoiding kamya and pratishiddha karma. Pratishiddha karma is the same thing as the nishiddha karma. Okay? What is prohibited by the Shastra is the prasiddha karma. So that when the prarabdha karma gets exhausted, you will naturally get moksha. It will not work. This is the contention of the Purvapakshi. Okay? That is why karma yoga is not merely doing a particular karma. It is a change of attitude in respect of all karmas. That makes the difference between karma as a yoga and karma done for the result. If the person doing the karma is a mumukshu, a seeker who wants moksha, he is not interested in dharma, artha or kama. And karma that he does is not meant to produce those results. Its purpose is to prepare the mind, prepare his mind so that he can gain knowledge. Now, in the performance of the Agnihotra as an Nichya Karma, there is a certain exertion involved. According to the Purva Mimamsaka, that exertion is a result of previous durita, previous papa, and gets exhausted in the pain experienced in performing the ritual. But what happens when you perform the Agnihotra as a Kamya Karma? The same pain is experienced because all the actions, mantras, offerings are the same. If that pain is the exhaustion of previous karma in a Nitya Agnihotra, it must be the same for a Kamya Agnihotra because the performance of the two is identical. That is one. Secondly, the performer is the same. Not only the performance is identical, the one who is performing the Nitya Karma or the Kamya Karma is the same fellow. In that case, how is the Kamya Agnihotra going to produce heaven, Swarga, for you? When you perform the Kamya Agnihotra, it is performed exactly like the Nitya Agnihotra because there is no difference in the karma. The same person performs the same actions, the same things are used, the mantras are the same, the things that are offered, the things that are necessary like fire, etc. are all the same. If the Nitya Agnihotra implies all those, where is this? Implies all those things, the very same things are implied in performing the Kamya Agnihotra, the desire prompted karma. Therefore, what will happen? Because the Kamya Agnihotra has the same pain as the Nitya Agnihotra, the old papas get exhausted as they do for the Nitya Agnihotra, and there will not be any special result for the Kamya Agnihotra karma. Unless the pain of the Kamya karma can be differentiated from that of the Nitya karma, it cannot be said that that same pain exhausts papas in one karma, but not in the other. In that case, there would be no result for the Kamya karma. Its result also gets resolved in the form of pain that is involved in the performance of it. However, the Purva Pakshi acknowledges that Kamya karma does produce a result. That is why he says it should be avoided in his plan for moksha. Earlier, that was his contention. Moksha does not require knowledge, only the attitude with which you do karma, that will take care of moksha. When the karma you do, it does not have either punya or papa, then these are the binding influences. They will not be binding you. So you call it a day at the end of your life today here. That means what? You have towards the end of your life not earned any new papa, new punya, which will bind you for causing another birth. That was a contention of the Purva Mimamsaka. If the Purva Pakshi says now that this is not true because no result is told in the Shruti for a Nitya Karma, whereas there is a result mentioned for a Kamya Karma, and therefore the Kamya Karma does have a result. Shankara gives the following answer. He says, your argument based on the Ardhapatti, that because there is no phala mentioned in the Shastra for Nitya Karmas, and yet they have been ordained by the Shastra, the pain involved in their performance is due to the duritas accumulated in the past janmas, is not tenable. It is not tenable. Shankara continues the argument further using Purva Pakshi's own argument and says the Nitya Karmas have to have some phala other than the pain of doing them because they have been deliberately ordered by the Shruti, like the Kamya Karma. Otherwise, there would be a contradiction. Yeah, roll it up. And after saying that it will be a contradiction, Shankara elaborates how it would be a contradiction. He says to the Purva Pakshi, on the one hand, you say that when one does the Nitya Karmas as ordained, one is actually neutralizing the duritas of previous karma. That itself is the phala for the Nitya Karmas. And then you also say the Nitya Karmas have no phala. This is a contradiction. On the one hand, you say there is no phala. On the other hand, you say they will remove the duritas, which is in itself a result, a phala. He says further to the Purvapakshi, supposing you say that the Kamya Karmas like Agnihotra have the result of going to heaven, etc., then it would mean that the Kamya Agnihotra has another result, other than the exhaustion of Papa, namely going to heaven. That means there should be some difference between the pain involved in the Nitya Karma and that of the Kamya Karma. But there is no difference at all. The same thing has to be done by the same person in the same way, using all the same ingredients. Okay, where is that same way? Oh, okay, where is that? There is no difference. When there is no difference whatsoever in the karma, how will one produce a result and the other not produce the same result? The pain that is born of doing the kamya karma is not seen at all as being different. It is the same. Just because a karma is done with a certain attitude, it does not mean the karma will not produce the specified result. If the pain is the visible result, drishta phala, it is the same for both. Nitya karma produces dukkha, pain, and the kamya karma also produces dukkha. If both have the same result, that is pain, how can you say that the kamya karma produces some other result, just as such as heaven, etc., and the nitya karma does not? Shastra is not a pramana with reference to seen results, but only with reference to unseen results. Shastra has no role at all to play in highlighting any drishtapalas. Okay, you play football well, you will score goals and you will lift the World Cup. Shastra is not interested in all that. These are all the drishtapalas.
Nanaji, Nanaji,
yes, please.
This Shastra, then Shruti, and what is that? Shruti are all same?
Yes, sir. Shruti is from the Vedas.
Vedas.
Veda. Shruti, see, these days there is some print form, the Vedas, what little of the Vedas we still have got. It is in print form. Previously, that was not in print form. It was Karna Parampara. Veda was transmitted from Guru to the Shishya. When the Shishya is required to recite what the Guru has said, the Shishya has to recite what the Guru, yes. So that is the Karna Parampara, Shabda Parampara. That is for two reasons, I believe. Number one, whatever is in print form, those days print was not there. Whatever is in print form, you are likely to accord very little importance to that. Oh, that is there, I can read it tomorrow. Whereas, when the Guru says something and you are required to repeat it thrice, 4 times, 5 times, till it is absorbed in your mind and you do not forget it. That's number one. Number two, there is a swara that is required for the Vedas. The Veda mantras, you can't read like I am reading the English text here. They have to be done in a proper way. If it is not done in a proper way, the same mantra uttered in an improper way may give a different meaning. May give a different meaning. In this case, I can quote one particular sentence in English itself. There was one fellow who was a notorious criminal, suppose. The king has ordered he should be hanged. And the order says, hang him, not leave him. The order says, hang him, leave him. And when the time of hanging has come, the hangman or the officer in charge of hanging, he is required to ask this fellow, who is the victim, as to what is his final wish. He says, I want to see the order of the king, and please give me a pen. And both are accorded, because the last wish of this person who is going to die, that will have to be honored. So a pen is given and the order of the king is given. Order of the king had said what? Hang him, not leave him. This fellow with a pen, he did not do anything. Hang him not. He put a comma. Leave him. Okay. Same English. Hang him not. He put a comma. Leave him. And handed it over to that officer. That officer looked at that. He said, okay, hang him. Then he said, you should look at the king's order. And when the officer saw, he released this fellow. When this is the effect of a mere Laukika language like English, what to speak of the Vedic language called Sanskrit, Devanagari. This is the Deva Bhasha. This is the Deva Bhasha.
Then that is Smriti, no, that is what we call Shruti. Then
Yeah,
Smriti
is like Mahabharata or Ramayana or like the Gita. Gita also is not a Shruti. It is called a Smriti Grandha. Smriti is for memory. It is in kind of a form. It is written on some, copper plates or on the
palm leaves.
Palm leaves. That becomes the Smriti.
Then these two become Shastra?
Yes, these two become Shastra. And there is a third thing, which is equivalent to the Smriti. There are a lot of Maharshis who have rendered humans service in the form of their Smriti Grandhas, Apastambha Smriti, Parashara Smriti, etc. All these rishis have contributed immensely to explaining away the Vedic mantras and the essence of what the Veda has ordained. Those are also very important, I believe.
So what means those are part of Shastra, or Shastra is different again?
Which one, sir?
Shastra.
Shastra. See, whenever there is any contradiction between the Smriti and the Shruti takes the cake. If, for instance, between Gita, which is the Smriti Grandha, and the Upanishads, which are Shruti Grandhas, if there is indeed any conflict between these mantras of the Gita and the mantras of the Upanishads take the cake.
Shruti and Shruti.
Luckily for all of us, there is nothing in the Gita which is in contradiction to what is mentioned in the Upanishads at all. That is why it is considered this is the essence of all the Upanishads. Sarvopanishado Gavaha. This is the milk of all the Upanishads. Dogdha Gopala Nandanaha. Pardho Vatsa. We are all Pardhas. We are all the Vatsas. We are all the cats. Partaking of the nectar from the cow of Upanishads.
And Shastras are different?
Shastra is the same thing as Shruti or Smriti, sir.
Okay, same.
Same thing.
Same thing, okay.
Shastra is the same.
Okay.
No, there is no other.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. That is why whenever somebody says something, if it does not apply to intelligence, kind of. I'm saying intelligence in the sense, you considering that you are a discerning person, considering that you are a mumukshu, a jignasu, and you are putting in adequate effort in the direction of moksha. Considering all those, if somebody has said something which is not very palatable to your intellect and mind, you need not swallow that. You will have to put it to some test. The acharyas have said, Shruti, what the Shruti has said. Yukti is whether it is logical, whether it is appropriate. Shruti, Yukti, Anubhava, your Anubhava, what has been your experience. You have lived life so long and so well, so very fruitfully. Okay? And in your living such a kind of life, is it your Anubhava that Mahatma is saying something? If that is not your Anubhava, you keep it aside. If it is not in accordance with your Yukti, keep it aside. Go consult the Upanishads. Okay, sir?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, there is yet another problem here. A number of karmas that we do are laukika karmas. Laukika karmas means like a cup of tea that we take in the morning, or a cup of coffee, and we go to the office by some means, by public transport. All these are laukika karmas. Okay, these are not they are neither the smarta karmas. Smarta karma is that which is ordained by the Smriti. Smriti is like the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, the Gita, etc. Neither the smarta grandhas have given that karma, neither the Shruti grandhas, like the Upanishads and the Vedas, Karma Kanda or Jnana Kanda. Laukika karma is different. Veda has no role in this laukika karma at all. Because all laukika karmas, generally, they have a drishtaphala. Veda does not talk of anything regarding drishtaphala. Any karma in respect of drishtaphala, Veda is silent about, because it knows whether you are ignorant or you are discriminative. You know that drishtaphala for a particular karma you undertake, you will get that phala. You know that. What you know, Veda will be silent about. What you do not know, adrishtaphala, Veda talks. Okay, there is yet another problem.
Nicely said. Nicely said. This point was needed actually.
Thank you. A number of karmas that we do are laukika karmas. That is, they're not enjoined or prohibited by the Shastra. Exercise, for example, is not enjoined by the Shastra, nor is it prohibited. It is like the daily prayers at dawn, noon, and dusk that are enjoined by the Shastra for certain people, with statements such as Aharaha Sanjham Upasita. Aharaha means day. Ahaha, day after day you have to do. Not only that, it has got an inner meaning. Thrice a day you have to do, because there are 3 sanjhas. It is a thing to be done. One is the Prata Sanja, another is the Sayam Sanja, the third one is the Madhyana Sandhya. Yeah. That Madhyana time, it is neither the forenoon nor the afternoon. It is the Sanja. It is the transition between these two. At all these times, you are required to do Sanja Vandanam, I believe. It is a thing to be done, but there are a number of activities we do which are not enjoined by the Shastra as thing to be done or not. What is the result of such karmas? They have an immediate result, drishtaphala, that is visible at the very time that the karma is being done. When you exercise, there is a visible result of sweating and depletion of energy. It's not going to earn punya or papa for you, because it is not mentioned by the Shastra as a thing to be done or to be avoided. Brahmara, roll it up, please.
Yes. Now, let me know when I can take over.
Okay. Okay. From that, we understand that a particular karma that is enjoined or prohibited by the Shastra has an unseen result, which you cannot predict. Adrushta phala. Even the Shastra cannot predict. But it happens in time, in course of time. There alone Shastra serves.
Here I have a little doubt. This Adrishtapala that Shastra is talking about, supposing person A, person B, both of them do the Nitya Karma, will the Adrishtapala for both will it be different or will it be the same? Or we do not know because it is Adrishta?
We don't know. Because for the phala, for A and B, who are doing the same karma, like you said, very good question. Same karma, like you said, the adrushta phala will be tailored by the pratibandhakas. Each one has, which were earned as a part of the Purva Janma Sukruta Dushkruta. That will perhaps be different for these two. Even in respect of twins, they are different. Because the twins, though they are born at the same time to the same mother, kind of, not at the same time, immediate one after the other, their minds are different. With a certain substance in the mind, both have taken refuge in the mother's womb. Because they are twins, it does not mean they have the same disposition in the mind. So those dispositions will tailor the karma phala. That could be different. Adrishta phala could be different. Okay. Where is it? Shastra is not pramana with reference to visible result, drishta phala, but to subtle, unseen results, adrishta phala. When the Shastra says that one should not eat meat, kalanjamna bhakshayet, it is not on the grounds of health, though it may confirm your common sense, your instinctive values, it has some other purpose. While on this, I would like to say something. Shastra saying kalam jamna bhakshayet. But right through Mahabharata and Ramayana, we have accounts of great rishis. Great rishis means what? They are what? They are brahmanas. Rishis like Agastya, rishis like even Vasishta, rishis like Vishwamitra. These people have partaken meat of all kinds, meat of the deer. The deer, that is, the deer is what? An animal, grass-eating animal. There is an episode in the Ramayana when there was a king who was an ancestor of Rama. He has invited Vasishta for dinner to his palace. Okay, so from the ashrama, Vasishta came along, and there was a Rakshasa whom the king has eliminated in the process of ruling the kingdom and ensuring that the kingdom does not have any bad influences of evil people. He had to eliminate a Rakshasa. Now the Rakshasa's brother wanted to take revenge on this king. What he has done is, Vasishta was invited for dinner. Vasishta was to be treated nicely by the king, and treating nicely included choice meat also. Okay, maybe the meat of a deer, the meat of some peacock or whatever. So the Rakshasa took the guise of the chief cook of the king and has managed to kill some other human being, and made that as a dish for Vasishta to be offered. The king, unsuspecting, did not know. Vasishta was called, and Vasishta was about to partake that. Vasishta picked up the smell of that, and he said, "This is sacrilege. I eat meat, yes, but not human meat." and he went to curse that king. The king was a very great Rajarshi. He did not know why he was being cursed. So he got angry. He was about to counter curse Vasishtha Brahmarshi. And the king was warned by his wife, a discerning wife. She said, he is your Purohit. He is your Rajaguru. You dare not curse your Rajaguru. You withdraw your curse. And by then he has already taken the waters and he has done some mantra japa of the waters. They were to be thrown on Vasishtha. That king, when he was warned like that by his wife, he put those waters on his feet, and he was, from then on, his feet got burnt. He was called, the feet became very black. He was called Kalmashapada. The king is called Kalmashapada. There is a beautiful account of this in the Ramayana. That kind of a thing is there in the Mahabharata. Agastya, when he went to a king, why I am saying this is, though the Shastra, Kalanyam na bhakshyet, I have my own reservations on the Shastra Vakya here, whether considering what we know through Ramayana and Mahabharata, whether this was an interpolation. Over the ages, at different times, different sets of people have interpolated different points of view in the Shastra Vakyas. Some of them may have remained intact without any adulteration. Some may have undergone a process of change. We do not know really. We really do not know. Like I said, in the Gita, between the 12th and the 13th chapters, apparently there is no connection. 12th chapter is the Bhakti Yoga, and it ends up saying what? Yo mad bhakta same priyaha, yo mad bhakta same priyaha. All those wise people's attributes have been summarized by Kitaya, and he said that person is very dear to me, very dear to me. And the 13th chapter immediately starts with thought, idam shariram kaunteya kshetramichya vidhiyate. Where is the connection between the wise person whom Kitaya covered in the 12th chapter and the 13th chapter? It starts with shariram is kshetram. The knower of shariram is the kshetrajna. Arjuna was not given any indication regarding the text to be followed in the next chapter at all. Whereas that's not the case with the rest of the chapters. It's not the case. Like in the 3rd chapter, Jayasi Chet Karmanaste Mata Buddhir Janardana. Hey Janardana, if you consider, okay, Buddhi is what? Jnanam. Jnanam is Shreyas compared to karma. Then why are you trying to employ me in this terrible karma, this yuddha? So there is a connection between the 2nd chapter and the 3rd chapter. There is a connection between the 1st and the 2nd. There is a connection between the 3rd and the 4th, and the 4th and the 5th, etc. All chapters have got some interlink, except the 12th and 13th chapters. And there are some versions of the Mahabharata in which Sanjaya summarizes the number of verses in the Mahabharata Gita. Number of verses in the Gita, as summarized by Sanjaya, in some versions of Mahabharata, Sanskrit Mahabharata, they are in excess of 700. Whereas we have now only 700. Even at the time of Shankaracharya, only 700 were considered, because the Gita Bhashya was limited to only that 700. Whereas Sanjaya in the Mahabharata mentions more number of verses in the Gita. Thus I have narrated to you, O king, so many verses, he says. That is there in some. What I'm saying is, when it comes to Mahabharata, Agastya, he goes to a king at the request of his wife, Lopamudra. Lopamudra says, Lopamudra was a princess. She's told Agastya, out of respect and love for you, I have accompanied you into the woods, into the forest. But please consider, I am a princess and I am used to some kind of comforts. Why don't you, with using your tapasic power, okay, tapasya power, why don't you create some kind of comforts for me? He says, if I use that, the merit of my doing tapas will be gone. Okay, I'll get you some comforts. I'll go to the yonder king, etc. He goes to, I'm sorry, I'm diverging. Okay, why I'm saying this is the context has come, at which time I thought it is appropriate for me to mention what I need to mention. Because look at it this way, Kalamyam na bhakshyet. Mamsam should not be eaten. Mamsam is meat. Meat should not be eaten. But there have been Rajarshis. Rajarshis means people who have been Rajas and they were Rishis. Like Janakadayaha. Like even in the 4th chapter, Kittaya has mentioned what? Imam vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam. I have addressed this yogam to Vivaswan, to the sun god. Vivaswan manave praha. Vivaswa has given it to Manu, who is a king. Manu who Ikshvakave abrivit. Ikshvaku was the oldest ancestor of Rama. Ikshvaku. That's why you say Ikshvaku Kula Tilaka Rama. Ikshvaku was a king, and all kings, they were used to hunting, they were used to eating meat and things like that. And there have been cases both in Mahabharata and Ramayana that great rishis who were Brahmanas, they happened to go to the Rajarshis to learn the truths of Vedanta. The Rajarshis were not an ordinary set of people. And those who were eating kalanjam, because the context has come, I thought I'll mention. So Agastya, what does he do? He goes to one king, and the king, very truthfully, he opens his balance sheet. Hey Maharshi, this is my income, this is my expenditure. Both are as though equal. Whatever you wish, you take from this. Then Agastya said, okay, you come with me. I know another king. We will go to the other king. When he goes to the other king also pleads the same thing. Guilty, pleads guilty, unable to help. Then these three together go to the third king. And the same thing happens. They go to the fourth king. Then the fourth king also same thing happens. Then when all these things happen, somebody tells Agastya, hey, there is one person, his name is Vatapi, and that fellow has a lot of money, lot of wealth, unaccounted wealth, okay? He has not been paying any income tax at all, and you go and grab all that money, and that fellow dare not to say no to you because you're a rishi. He's scared of rishis, the curse of rishis. You go and he will give you. He goes to Vatapi. When he goes to Vatapi, Vatapi has an younger brother called, not Vatapi. The name of the Rakshasa is Ilvala, not Vatapi. This Ilvala has an younger brother. His name is Vatapi. And these brothers, they used to play a lot of tricks on wayfarers. People who were going through the forest, they used to invite them for lunch and dinner. And this Ilvala used to, as though, kill this Vatapi, make Vatapi into a lamb or so, and kill that lamb and feed these wayfarers who are of different varnas. They are Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, Brahmanas, everybody. And all those people used to partake that. And Ilvala used to call Vatapi, hey, Vatapi, come away. And this lamb, which was Vatapi, cut into pieces and which has gone into the Madhya Pradeshas of all these Varnas, when Ilvala called, this Vatapi used to come out, tearing those stomachs, tearing the stomachs of those people who have partaken of his meat. And this both Ilvala and Vatapi, they had that power to recall whoever is dead and things like that. They used to partake of the meat of those wayfarers and appropriate all the money that they were carrying. That is how he acquired a lot of wealth. Agastya was told this, he goes there. And Ilvala very happily invites him together with the other 4 kings. When Vatapi was in the normal course, made into a lamb and served, Agastya and the kings eat. Ilvala calls Vatapi, Vatapi, come on. Then Agastya said, he says, Agastya, he simply puts his hand on his tummy. Jirnam, Jirnam, Vatapi, Jirnam. Hey, Vatapi, you are digested. You are digested totally. And this Vatapi, in spite of the call of Ilvala, in spite of the mystic powers of Ilvala, Vatapi could not come away. Why I am saying this is, the lamb's meat was eaten by Agastya. The meat of the deer was offered to unsuspectingly by the king to Vasishtha. All these things are there. Right through Mahabharata and Ramayana, these instances are there. So I wonder whether this Kalanjana Bhakshyet, whether that is originally in the Shastra, I do not know. I have not touched any portion of the Veda at all. I don't know. I don't know the Veda mantras. But this, what I am saying is, Shruti, Yukti, Anubhava. Your Anubhava, having read such great texts like Ramayana and Mahabharata, you have got some Anubhava and you have got some discerning mind. With the discerning mind, logically thinking, if you grant that this is correct, maybe it is correct. If you start doubting, you wait on, and like it is mentioned in the Taittiriya Upanishad, wait for a person who can clear your doubts, prostrate to him, request him to clear your doubts, he will clear. Till then, neither you accept nor reject. Okay, now we go forward. Where did we stop here? By prohibiting it, the Shastra tells us that doing such an action will produce an unseen, undesirable result, papa, that will be experienced as an unpleasant situation at some time in the future. As a prohibited karma will produce an adrishta phala called papa, an enjoined karma will produce punya. Because punya and papa are not immediately seen by you, they are called adrishta. But drishta is what is seen. But they are standing in your account. How do we know? Because the Shastra says so. There is no other means of knowledge for it. The result that is seen is not the concern or the domain of the Shastra. Shastra does not talk of anything that is drushtam. Okay? You keep on doing 120 miles an hour, you will reach that place in 2 hours time. Shastra does not say. Neither does it. Hey, this PDF is gone.
Just give me a second. I don't know what happened.
Okay. Maybe the Shastra did not like my digression.
Just give me a second. I think I have to just go back.
Nanaji,
Yes, please.
could there be then alterations in Mahabharata and Ramayana? Instead of saying that the alterations could have been made in Shastra.
Possible.
Yeah.
Very possible. Good question. Very possible.
Also, Nanaji, we have seen that there are people who eat meat or non-vegetarian, but they are really very spiritual also.
Yeah, very right. Very right. The Rajarshis, they were Rajas as well as Rishis. And as a Raja, he was a meat eater. That was kind of not prohibited to him. And this Raja, as a budding prince, he also learned at the feet of a guru along with the Brahmana and Vaishya in the Gurukulam. In the Gurukulam, what kind of a food was served, we really do not know. Only thing we know is, in the Gurukulam, all the Sishyas were supposed to go and look for bhiksha from the householders and bring back the bhiksha, give it to the Guru Patni. She used to distribute that to everybody. That much we know. What kind of food was obtained, we really do not know. Why I'm saying this so-called king was also an Antevasi. An Antevasi means one Sishya, half a guru, along with his associates, belonging to the other two cadres. And they ate the same kind of food. They learned the same mantras through the guru. And they have conformed to the same style of life as ordained by the guru, as ordained by the Shastra Vakya. What happened to PDF?
Thank you, Nanaji.
Thank you. This is what I'm saying. We should not swallow everything simply because it is said by some so-called Mahatma. The so-called Mahatma may be indeed be a Duratma. How do you know? If what he says does not apply to your intelligence, which is known to be really very discerning, how do you accept that?
But when you look at between Shruti and Smriti, you give Shruti the upper hand, which is the Vedas.
Correct.
Now in Sankhya and Yoga is part of the Vedas, part of the Shad Darshanas, no? Patanjali Maharshi has talked of Ashtanga Yoga, where he talks of Ahimsa as one of the yamas. So when you consider Ahimsa in both thought, word and deed, then doesn't it logically mean Kalanjam na bhakshayet is actually true and it's coming from the Shruti?
We really do not know. We really do not know, because those days, both Ramayana and Mahabharata, which have this status as itihasas. Itihasa means itiha-asa. Does it happen? It is not a simple story. It's not like a novel. It is an account of how it happened. That is given by Valmiki in Ramayana, how it happened. That is given by Vyasa Bhagavan in Mahabharata. Itiha asa. This is how it happened. That is the way of life those people have lived. That is depicted very clearly. When such is the case, and the way the life was depicted included people like rishis eating meat, which is clearly mentioned by another rishi as the author of the Mahabharata, another rishi as the author of the Ramayana, we tend to accept that. We tend to accept that. And in the Ramayana, there have been accounts when Lakshmana and Rama went hunting in their sojourn in the forest and killed some deer, some other animal, and brought it back, and Mother Sita cooked and gave food for both of them, and she ate. What I am saying is, these are, and Bhagavan Rama is not an ordinary soul. He is an Avatara Purusha. He is a Dharma Avatara. And you venerate Rama right through, right from the Himalayas to the Southern Ocean. Ase to Himachalam, you have temples of Rama. It's not just for nothing. It is not simply created by the enthusiasm of some set of people. It is kind of inborn in the land, which is Bharat. And unless these kind of things have happened, these temples would not have come up. Another thing, amongst all the bhaktas of Bhagavan, be it Rama or Krishna, can you name one bhakta who has temples of his own?
Hanuman.
Exactly. And Hanuman, he's a monkey. He's a Vanara. Why is he being venerated like that? Why is he having a lot of temples all over the country? Unless he's a great bhakta. Rama Bhakta Hanuman. He is not a simple Vanara. He's a great bhakta. He is one who has learned, I believe, the Navavyakarana Siddhi. And he has learned from the sun god. And he is not an ordinary soul. So the tradition that the people in Mahabharata have is to venerate a person who deserves veneration. That is how, amongst all the bhaktas of both Rama and Krishna, the one person who has temples of his own is Hanuman. Yeah, this has come. Now can I start reading?
Yes, Nana.
Where did we stop? Kalam Yanna Bhakya. As a prohibited karma will produce an adrishta phala called papa, an enjoined karma will produce punya. Because punya and papa are not immediately seen by you, they are called adrishta, but they are standing in your account. How do we know? Because the Shastra says so. There is no other means of knowledge for it. The result that is seen is not the concern or domain of the Shastra. That is the Drishtaphalas. Shastra does not talk of anything. When this is so, if the pain that is involved in Kamya Karma as well as the Nitya Karma is the only result of doing them, why should the Shastra enjoin us to do them? The point is, the pain is a Drishtaphala. Why is Shastra suddenly coming into enjoining us to gain some Drishtaphala? The Shastra need not tell us how to get an immediate result. And why should it tell us to do something that is going to cause pain? In fact, doing a karma enjoined by the Veda helps us to avoid pain. I do not know anything about an Agnihotra karma. And when I look into the Shastra, I find that it tells me that I must do this daily. Why do I do it? Because I will get some result. And what is the result? Well, if it is pain, dukkha, who will do it? How can the Shastra enjoin it? The Shastra does not have to say anything about a visible result. If it did, there would be no effort on the part of the Shastra to enjoin a karma, which is meant to produce an unseen result like heaven. If karmas produce only visible results, Drishtaphala, why should the Shastra engage itself in pointing out results like heaven that are unseen results of Drishtaphala? They will fructify in time, either in this life or later or in another life. Therefore, the unseen result alone is in the vision of the Shastra when it enjoins karma. Pramara, you want to take over? You don't have much time anyway.
Yeah, I will take the next para.
Yeah.
It is not possible to imagine that Sankalpa alone changes the result, Vedanti's version. If there is no difference in the nature of the karma, whether it is a Nitya karma or a Kamya karma, the result should be the same. But the Purva Mimamsaka says that there is a special result for Kamya karma, which is not there for Nitya Agnihotra. If the Agnihotra done as Kamya karma implies additional rituals, etc., we can say that it has some other result because something more is added. But there is nothing else added to the Agnihotra, whether it is Kamya Agnihotra or a Nitya Agnihotra. The method of doing it, iti kartavyata, kartavyata does not change. That being so, the special result of heaven for the Kamya Karma can only be due to it being the result that is desired by the one doing it, by the one performing the ritual. If the performer is the desire of some result like heaven, Swarga, he has the result of heaven. But this cannot be a valid argument. It is like saying that if someone drives a car just for the sake of driving, he will not proceed anywhere. Whereas the one who drives to reach some destination will proceed. Is there any such thing? Suppose one person does the ritual for the sake of society and another does it for himself. Will the result be different? Because both are doing the same karma, the result will be the same. If one person goes around his neighborhood picking up trash because he wants to live in clean surroundings, and another person does it because he wants his neighbors to be happy, the result of the action is the same. The neighborhood is cleaned up. Just because one person is without personal desire, nishkama, will there be a better result? Will the adjacent neighborhood also be free from garbage? No, he has only cleaned up his own neighborhood. The result is the same, even though the bhavana, the attitude is different. That attitude does not improve the result of the action. It is going to be the same. Or suppose one person runs cross country to get into the Guinness Book of Records, and another person, like Terry Fox, does it for the Cancer Society. Will the result be different? The result is the same in the sense that both cover the same number of miles, even though the first one is a Kamya Karma and the second one is not. The second one is a Nishkama Karma. There is no difference in the Karma Phala. The difference is only in the attitude.
Hari Om. Brahmara, that footnote regarding Terry Fox, you please read.
Yeah. Terry Fox, Canadian athlete whose transcontinental run helped raise more than 24 million for cancer research. Fox undertook the run called the Marathon of Hope after losing much of his right leg to bone cancer.
Jai Gurudev, any karma will give Drishtaphala and Adrishtaphala, right?
Yes, certainly.
Yeah, but then the attitude would make the difference in the Adrishtaphala. Though the Drishtaphala is they have completed certain miles, this is a Drishtaphala. Adrishtaphala would depend on their attitude.
No. It's not as simple as that, madam. See, the attitude will render the mind of the person who is performing the action as pure. If you have done with a very noble attitude, you will tend to get a purer mind. Okay? That attitude will drive you to that extent, but the phala will not be different. Considering the same action undertaken by two people in identical circumstances, using the same identical implements, and in the same time, the phala will be the same. But the attitudes with which they have undertaken the activity, that will render their minds differently. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Nana.
Okay. Yeah. Terry Fox.
Yeah. Therefore, it is untenable to say that Nitya Karma has no Punya Phala. Since there is no improvement in the way it is done, there should be no special result for the Kamya Karma. It should be the same as the result of the Nitya Karma. When the result is the same.
Ramana, I think you missed one or two paras. You go to the Terry Fox fellow here. After that, you read, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, that is this, is it? Okay.
So there is no difference in the karma phala, the difference is only in the attitude. Therefore, it is untenable to say that Nitya Karma has no Punya Phala. Since there is no improvement in the way it is done, there should be no special result for the Kamya Karma. It should be the same as the result of the Nitya Karma. When the result is the same, how can you say that only the Nitya Karma produces no result, whereas the Kamya Karma produces heaven? This is not possible for anyone to imagine. There must also be an unseen result, Adrishta Phala, for the Nitya Karma. It is a karma that is enjoined by the Veda, and when it is done, there must necessarily be punya. Therefore, the original argument that there is no result for the Nitya Karma, but there is fault incurred if it is not done, akarane pratyavaya dosha, is false. Nitya Karma Anushtana cannot remove karma totally, as it has its base in ignorance. If he acknowledges that there is punya, there is another problem. Because there is punya for this karma, there has to be another birth, janma, to exhaust it. Also, though the karma may be able to neutralize the duritas that you brought with you, and those that you gathered in this birth, it is not going to exhaust all the karmas standing in your account that has not yet begun to fructify, anarabdha karma. Then again, we are not sure whether we can neutralize all the duritas simply by doing nitya karma. We may be able to neutralize some and minimize some, but we may not be able to totally eliminate all of them. If someone commits a homicide, he is not going to neutralize that with a couple of oblations. If he had killed a mosquito, it might be good enough, but not for something heinous. Every day we gather so many papas just to live our life. Because we cannot avoid them, we have to neutralize them. And for that, we do daily nitya karma. It does produce an unseen result, adrishta phala, which may neutralize the papa that we collect day to day. Unless it produces a result, it is not going to neutralize anything. We have to produce an adrishta phala to neutralize the adrishta phala. It has to be of the same order of reality. Only the adrishta punya can neutralize the adrishta papa. And it can neutralize only the prarabdha papa karma phala, not the anarabdha papa karma phala. Therefore, a karma phala that was produced due to avidya, whether it is punya or papa, can be neutralized only by knowledge and not just doing the nitya karmas.
Hari Om. Do we stop here, Brahmara?
We can go on a little more, Nana, because this it's a good flow of thought, so I think we'll go along.
Okay.
Avidya being the cause of all karma, jnana alone, but is it okay for you? It must be
Oh, yeah,
passed.
no problem, no problem. See, I am the freest person amongst all of you. I have no burdens, nothing. I am very free. Can eat anytime I want. I need not prepare my food. Go ahead.
So, avidya being the cause of all karma, jnana alone destroys it in one stroke. Now, Shankara comes back to his original statement. Knowledge is the only cause for the destruction of karma, which has its basis in ignorance. Every karma produces a result, and karma, as we have seen, is threefold in terms of the means of doing it. It can be physical, kayika, oral, vachika, or purely mental, manasa, though all three imply the use of the mind. When you sing in praise of the Lord, two things are involved, the voice as well as the mind. Whereas when you do meditation, it becomes purely mental. If we look at karma in terms of these three means of doing an action, we have a general format for analyzing all forms of prayer. It does not matter whose prayer it is. It will be covered by this format. And every form of prayer is as valid as another, whether it is a Muslim's prayer or a Christian's prayer or a Jain's prayer or a Parsi's prayer or the prayer of someone from an African tribe. It is as valid as the Vedic prayer, because prayer is prayer. Whether it is a Vedic prayer or any other prayer, there will be a result, punya. Now, by whom is this karma done? There is an agent who says, I am the doer. In the vision of the Gita and the Upanishads, you are not the doer. You are Satchit Ananda Atma, and you perform no action. In your presence, all actions are done. The sense organs move about among their respective sense objects. Atma does not perform any action at all. Indriyani indriyartheshu vartante. Aham na kinchit karma karomi. Therefore, to perform an action, you must have the avidya, ignorance, leading to the conclusion, I am the doer, karta. A karma that is done with this notion is born only of avidya, whether it is an auspicious shubha karma, one that brings punya, or an inauspicious one, ashubha, that brings papa. Both are based in ignorance, and therefore the cause for their exhaustion is knowledge alone. The karta has been gathering a lot of karma in his various accounts due to ignorance. One account is a term deposit called sanchita karma. The second is a current account, the karmas he is currently gathering, the agami karmas. Of course, there is the prarabdha karma, which is the third. All these are standing in the account of the karta as long as the karta is there. How are you going to exhaust them? By doing nitya karma or anything else? You are only adding to them. Or perhaps if you are doing them with the proper attitude as a yoga for gaining the right type of mind, as a result of those karmas, you will gain the right mind and you will come to appreciate the fact, I am not the doer, I am akarta. Then whatever karma has accumulated in your account, old or new, is destroyed by knowledge. Knowledge, vidya, is the cause for their exhaustion in one stroke. Why one stroke? You knock off the kingpin, and when you do that, all that is resting on that falls apart. It is like the dreamer waking up. All the karmas done by that dreamer, good and bad, are cancelled. He cannot demand that someone he had loaned money to in the dream has to pay him back. If a person is accused like that, he can only say, if you meet me in your dream tonight, I will pay you then. This is a meaningless thing. Once a person wakes up to the reality of the Atma being akarta, there is no longer any karma standing in his account. This is what we call moksha. The avidya is the kingpin. To knock that off, you have to bring in knowledge, vidya. Total surrender is the surrender of ego. While some good karmas can neutralize some bad karmas, in order to eliminate karmas entirely, asheshataha, you have to eliminate the notion of being a karta, the kingpin. The notion, I am the doer, will not eliminate itself. People will say, surrender the ego. In Kali Yuga, surrender is the easiest. In fact, it is just the opposite. In any yuga, surrender is the most difficult. Why? Surrender itself is a very interesting thing. To whom should I surrender? If someone says, for example, that I should surrender to the king, this is an arrangement. I surrender to him and he gives me protection. It is the same with Bhagavan. What is that surrender? It is a contract. It is not surrender. I will do namaskara to you and you give me this much. This is not an act of surrender. It is just another type of contract. Surrender is not that easy. Who is to surrender? Just one second. Everybody mute themselves.
You stopped, Brahmara?
This is not an act of surrender. It is just another type of contract. Surrender is not that easy. Who is to surrender? Mr. Ego. What does he have to surrender? Only himself. He cannot surrender anything else because it all belongs to Bhagavan. His body belongs to Bhagavan because it is part of the creation. That is why it is illegal to commit suicide. The father has a claim over his son's body. The mother has a claim. The state has a claim. All the bugs have a claim. They are all inside saying, this is our house. What claim do you have? Nothing belongs to you. And therefore, because you have nothing to surrender, you cannot surrender anything. All you have is your notion about yourself, your ahankara. That is the only thing you can surrender. How are you going to do that? The ahankara is the one who goes about surrendering everything else. How can he surrender himself? In order to surrender the I notion, ahankara, there must be another I, aham. All I have is the ahankara. If it is this, if it is this idam, I can surrender. I can remove the ahankara and give it to you. Who is to remove it? That is me. Therefore, I cannot surrender anything to anybody. That is why we keep on surrendering daily. My body, my wealth, everything belongs to you, O Lord. Tan man dhan sab kuch hai tera. Yesterday, he said the same thing. Yesterday, he gave away everything, and today also he does the same. How can he give the same thing repeatedly? Suppose you want to borrow some money, say $10,000, because your small business is in some trouble. Your friend gives you $10,000 as cash in an envelope. You are so very happy. And as you are happily going away, if he said to you, please give that envelope behind, why you ask? He tells you, I'll give it to you tomorrow. You thought, okay, when I'm getting $10,000, I can come tomorrow. It is no problem. So you return the money and go again tomorrow, and the same thing happens. Then you ask in exasperation, why do you keep doing this? And he tells you, because I have decided to give you $10,000 daily. How do you feel? How would you feel? This is adding insult to injury. How does one surrender the ego? You cannot give the same thing again and again. But we are doing this every day to Bhagavan. Because he is Bhagavan, we can get away doing this. After this also, he is allowing us to be alive here. I am not asking you to stop doing it because that prayer has a result which can be very helpful. But it is not surrender. There is only one surrender, and that is the dismissal of the ahankara. It can be dismissed in only one way, by inquiry. It cannot stand inquiry. Vicharam na sahate, because it is false. Therefore, the only way the karta can go is by inquiring into the nature of it. There again, there is a problem. How can I inquire into the ahankara? If I go on asking the question, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? What answer will I get? The answer depends on my conclusion about myself, because I am asking myself. If I think I'm an idiot, that is what the answer is going to be. By asking the question, who am I, repeatedly, how am I going to get an answer that is anything more than what I already know about myself? If I can know something more about myself, It is only about my psychology. That is all I can know. And that does not solve the problem. It does help, but it does not solve the problem completely. There is no answer to this question unless you have a means of knowledge, pramana. When you inquire into the Vedanta Shastra, what is the subject matter? Atma alone. Even though we analyze the karmas like Agnihotra, where does it come back to? The one who does the karma, the karta. Again, it comes back to myself alone. This Atma is the subject matter of the inquiry here. The notion that I am the experiencer of the results of action, karma phala bhokta, or the one who does the karma, the karta, is analyzed in 100 different ways. And that sense of doership, kartritva, and everything centered on it will not go unless I conduct a Shastra Vichara, an inquiry into the Shastra. Thus, the Shastra becomes a mirror for me to look at myself, at what I am. The Ahankara does not really do any job here. It only disappears. The mind, buddhi, has an erroneous cognition, vritti, with reference to I, aham. The Shastra creates a vritti that destroys that erroneous cognition, revealing that I am Brahman, aham brahmasmi. This is the vritti which destroys the ahankara. Thereby, this knowledge is the cause for the destruction of all karma, not the practice of nitya karma. Nitya karma is the cause of antakarana shuddhi. It creates the necessary atmosphere inside and the proper circumstances outside. It does make sure that I have a proper frame of mind and also a conducive situation to pursue this knowledge. That is all we require anyway. Then, when the vichara is there, knowledge will be there. That is the only way to destroy karma. All actions have their cause in ignorance and desire. All types of action, whether scripturally enjoined or secular, have their cause in ignorance and desire. First, the action implies the doer karta. Without looking at myself as a doer, there is no possibility of an action coming into being. We can also say that if I do not look upon myself as a karta, the action is only as though. But we are not talking about that here. We are not talking about the karma of a jnani who does not look upon the Atma as a doer and whose action is therefore cancelled, bhadita. His action cannot produce an unseen result. It is like a roasted seed which cannot sprout. This is knowledge, not just an attitude. If you have the attitude that because of Ishvara's grace, you are a doer, karta, you become a devotee, bhakta. That attitude will help you gain antakarana shuddhi because you can absorb the result of karma as it comes with the understanding that it is given by Ishvara. But that is purely an attitude. The knowledge that Atma is not a doer, that actionlessness is the nature of Atma is not there. If that knowledge is absent, what will you have? Ignorance. When you say, I am a doer, karta, that is ignorance. Then naturally, I become a small person. To understand that Atma is not a doer, I have to understand that Atma is Brahman. In the appreciation of Atma being Brahman, there is no sense of lack. And therefore, because of his fullness, Purnatva, there is no desire, kama. If ignorance is there will be doership. And then the desire, kama, to achieve small results cannot be avoided. Therefore, ignorance and desire, avidya and kama, are the cause for all forms of karma. Whole Gita Shastra talks of karma as meant for ajnanis and jnana nishta as meant for jnanis. It has been established by the Gita Shastra so far that the sphere of karma is only for the one who has ignorance. One must be ignorant in order to be the karta. Ignorance is the basis for performing desire-prompted activities. The sphere for the one who has knowledge, however, is a commitment to knowledge, jnana nishtha, preceded by renunciation of all action, sarva karma sannyasa. Shankara quotes some verses here to remind us of how this has been shown throughout the Gita. Even karma yoga is for the one who is ignorant because it is a means, sadhana. Whether it is karma done as a yoga with right attitude or a desire-prompted action, kamya karma, all activity is centered on the ignorant. Whereas for the one who has no ignorance of the Atma, the commitment is to that or the abiding knowledge of that which leaves nothing to be desired, jnana nishtha. There is an adjective for this jnana nishtha in the Bhashya. Shankara says that it is characterized by or preceded by renunciation of all activities. He says, Sarva karma sannyasa purvika jnana nishtha. What does he mean? It is not that you should not do any action at all. Otherwise, Shankara could not have written this commentary. Can Lord Krishna teach without being active? Therefore, this renunciation is the renunciation of doership, kartritva. How are you going to renounce that? Only in the wake of knowledge, jnana. There is no other way to give up all activity. We have seen that nobody can remain without activity even for a moment. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtati akarma krita. Even just living is not possible if there is no activity. Sharira yatra apicha na prasiddhayet akarmanaha. Siddhyet. Breathing is activity, eating is activity, sitting is activity, walking is activity. There is no person who is alive and who does not perform any action. But one can totally free oneself from all activities by knowing I am not a doer. These are the two things that are well established throughout the Gita. Karma is for the one who does not know Atma, and an abiding knowledge preceding by a renunciation of all action is for the one who knows. Shankara quotes some segments of a few verses from the Gita where this was already shown. He starts with, both do not know. Ubhautau navi janitaha. Here, Shankara is citing the verse that says that both the one who looks upon the Atma as the one who kills, ya enam veti hantaram, that is, as the doer, and the one who looks upon the Atma as the one who is killed, yaschainam manyate hatam, that is, as the enjoyer, do not know the Atma. He starts with the most important fact. The Atma is not a doer or an enjoyer. Why does Krishna choose the action of killing to illustrate this? By the analogy of Prathama Malla Nyaya, defeating the champion boxer, all other actions are automatically covered. For example, if you want to become a heavyweight champion in boxing, what should you do? Should you box with the entire humanity? No, you only need to defeat the existing heavyweight champion. Similarly here, there are many activities, but the worst one, the one that invokes the most hurt and guilt, is killing someone. Therefore, the verse says that both the one who looks upon oneself as one who has destroyed somebody and the one who looks upon oneself as being destroyed do not know the Atma. Why? Because the Atma does not destroy. Nahanti, meaning it does not perform any action, nor does it get destroyed. Nahanyate, that is, nor does it become an object of anybody's action. Therefore, Atma is neither the subject of action nor the object of action. Only if there is anything else can it be the subject or object. But there is nothing at all other than Atma. Atmanaha anyat kimapi nasti. The object is the Atma, the subject is also the Atma. Therefore, the subject-object distinction is purely mithya. What does all this say? That the Atma is not an agent, and therefore there is no karma here. That is knowledge, jnana. To support this further, Shankara quotes Veda vinashinam nityam, quoting from the following verse. Veda vinashinam nityam ya enamajam avyayam katham sapurusha partha kam ghatayati hantikam. The one who knows that which is not subject to time and therefore not subject to destruction, the one who knows that Atma is himself, how does such a person destroy or cause destruction? Whom does he destroy? There are two types of action. You do it yourself or you make others do it. Either way, you are the prime agent. The Atma does neither of these types of action. In its sannidhi, in its presence, activities take place. Therefore, Atma is a karta, not a doer. Then again, Shankara quotes, Jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yogina. There is the pursuit of knowledge for the renunciate and the pursuit of karma for the karma yogi. This is the verse in the 3rd chapter in response to Arjuna's confusion about whether he should follow karma or renounce everything for moksha. He says to Krishna, in effect, you praise jnana and you also praise karma. I am confused. Which will give me moksha? Why do you confuse me like this? Why don't you say, this is right, do it? Lord Krishna answers that there is a twofold committed lifestyle for moksha given by him before. Lokesmin dvividha nishta pura prokta mayanagha jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yogina. One is purely the pursuit of knowledge and the other is the pursuit of knowledge with a life of karma yoga. Even though there are these two lifestyles, Shankara almost considers a karma sannyasi to be a jnani because he has given up karma for the sake of knowledge, and that knowledge will make him a sarva karma sannyasi in time. Then Shankara quotes, for those ignorant ones who are attached to karma, ajnanam karma sanginam. The rest of the verse says, do not disturb their minds. Na buddhi bhedam janayet. They are doing some good karma. Do not go and tell them that karma will not give them moksha. Do not disturb the attitude of such a person because he will give up the karma. Even though karma does not directly produce moksha, if a person is committed to karma, it is the only thing he can do to accomplish a certain frame of mind that will allow him to gain this knowledge. If you criticize karma to those who do not have discrimination, they will give up karma and will neither have the benefit of karma nor will they have knowledge. On the other hand, the one who knows the truth of this karma, tattvavita, knows, I do not perform any action at all. Naiva kinchit karomi iti manyeta. Whether seeing, hearing, talking, or doing anything else. It is the sense organs that move about among the sense objects. Indriyani indriyartheshu vattante. The
Hari
one
Om.
with Hari Om.
We are on to 903. You have
just,
surpassed even your manana time.
Yeah, I think I will just end with this. Oh, it's a long one. It runs into 3 pages, I think. Okay.
Tahara viharasya.
Correct.
Yukta cheshtasya karmasu. Okay.
So here is what I will have to say. Stop. So
Yeah,
this is
here.
page
You are here. The one who is
435. Yeah. So should I continue?
Okay.
Or-
Okay. Yeah, you are burdening everybody else who may have some other engagements.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I think everyone should be okay with this train of for another. No, this is so very nice, the whole flow. So I don't think we should stop at this right now.
Okay. Okay.
The one who is a Tattvavit, who knows that Atma does not perform any action, recognizing that only the gunas in the form of the senses, mind, etc. move about among the gunas, is not bound to karma or its results. Tattvavit tu guna guneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. Further, we saw in the 5th chapter, mentally renouncing all karmas, the one who has self-mastery, who indwells the body, remains seated happily in the 9-gated city. Just give me a second, 1 minute. Yes. Further,
Shall I take over?
No. I had to just charge my computer. That's all.
Okay.
Further, we saw in the 5th chapter, mentally renouncing all karmas, the one who has self-mastery, who indwells the body, remains seated happily in the 9-gated city, neither doing nor causing any action to be done. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvan na karayan. It is said that all karmas are given up. We understand the word sarva, that is, it is not one karma that is given up, but all. This is not possible unless one has knowledge, and therefore the renunciation is not physical, but through the mind, manasa. Renouncing all karmas by knowing that the self is actionless, one remains happily seated in the body. He is always free from the weariness of karma and the disappointment, etc. of karma phala, where in this body itself, not after death, while the person is alive in this physical body, he is liberated, neither doing any action nor causing anyone else to act. Naiva kurvan na karayan. He remains always free from action, akarta. The one who knows the truth of Atma looks upon oneself as a person who does not perform any action at all. The one who knows the truth would think, I do not perform any action at all. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavit. He does not consider that he does even a small bit, kinchit, of an action, like thinking, for instance. He knows this while thinking, not later. That is why the present continuous is used. While seeing, pashyan, hearing, shrinvan, touching, sparshan, sprishan, smelling, jigran. He knows that doing all these, he performs no action. Then Shankara says that by implication, we understand that the one who does not know the truth of Atma thinks that he does perform action. Seeing, he becomes a seer. Hearing, he becomes a hearer. Whatever he does, he becomes the agent of that action. Therefore, he looks upon himself as an action-conditioned person. Further, it was said in the 6th chapter that for the one who wants to gain this knowledge of the self, the mumukshu, karma becomes the means. Aruruksho mune yogam karma karanam uchyate. For the one who is an accomplished karma yogi or has gained the knowledge, renunciation of all activity, either relatively or absolutely, becomes the means for moksha. Yoga rudhasya tasyaiva shamah karanam uchyate. Then Shankara recalls the 7th chapter where it is said that there are 4 types of devotees. One is the devotee in distress, Artha, one who implores the Lord to protect him when he is in trouble. This in itself is good because he thinks of the Lord at least when he is in trouble. Another one, the Artharthi, prays not only when in distress, but also when he begins any undertaking. In order to get the results he wants, he first thinks about the Lord and then starts his work. This one is better because he appreciates Ishvara a little more than the first one. He is interested in various pursuits and worships the Lord in the form of various deities and then starts his undertaking. Then the third one is a Jignasu, the one who wants to know Ishvara. He is better than the other two because he worships Ishvara not for any other end, but for knowing Ishvara. He is a karma yogi or a sannyasi. Whether you pursue only knowledge of Ishvara or pursue knowledge along with karma, you are a bhakta. All the words that are studied, the words of the Veda, are Bhagavan's words, and therefore the Jignasu looks upon the Veda as a pramana. This is Shraddha in the Veda, which is Shraddha in Bhagavan alone. Therefore, in the form of the words of Bhagavan, the one who wants to know, Jignasu, invokes Bhagavan. In time, he comes to know what the Shastra says and is called a Jnani. All of the first three devotees are good. Trayaha api udaraha, because they are devotees, but they are ignorant. The Jnani, on the other hand, Krishna says, is myself. Jnani tu atmaiva me matam. All of them worship Ishvara, seek Ishvara. The first two are seeking Ishvara's help for accomplishing their own ends. The Jignasu is seeking Ishvara's help in order to understand Ishvara. He knows the problem and therefore is seeking Ishvara directly. He is not invoking the grace of Ishvara to get one more thing, but is invoking Ishvara for the knowledge of Ishvara. He also is a devotee, but still he is different from Ishvara because he has yet to understand that Ishvara is himself. The Jnani, however, is non-separate from Ishvara. Then Shankara reminds us in the 9th chapter of those who use the three Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, while performing rituals like the Soma and the Prasada of the ritual, and having been purified of all wrongdoing, become Bhuta Papas. And worshipping by means of the ritual, they pray for heaven. Traividya Mam Soma Paf Bhuta Papa Yajnairištva Swargatim Prarthayante Evam Trayi Dharmam Anuprapannaha Gatagatam Kama Kamalabhante. Then what happens? Naturally, their prayers are answered, and after death, they go to the world born of Punya, where Indra lives, and in that heaven, they enjoy celestial happiness. Then afterwards, having enjoyed the heavenly abode, when the Punya that took them there and kept them there gets exhausted, they enter again into the world of mortals. Kshine Punye Matyalokam Vishanti. This world or anything equivalent to it, where there is disease, decrepitude, old age, etc., is called Matyaloka. These ignorant people, Ajnanis, who wish for desired objects, Kama-kamis, only come back from where they have gone. Gatagatam labhante. Even though they are following the karma enjoined by the three Vedas, what do they gain at the end? Having gone to some desirable place, they again come back. What is the net result? They remain in samsara.
Hey, I think we should call it a day. We're on to 9:15 nearly. Okay? I understand this is very interesting, but we must keep the interest at abeyance so that tomorrow will be as interesting.
Okay.
Okay?
Done.
9:59 Nanna.
Sare Nana.
Okay. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niramayaha. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschet dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All of you, please forgive me and Brahmara. We have extended this by 1.25 hours. Okay. Like Brahmara said, this is very interesting and very conducive to easy understanding and getting clarity. That's why she continued. So pardon both of us. We will make a note of this page number, Brahmara.
Yes, Nana.
And it starts with this Ananyas Chintayanto Mam. Renuji says, for your time with us.
Hari Om, Dhanyavad, Nanaji.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
Page 437.
Hari Om, Nanaji.
Okay.
Hari Om. Thank you, Nana.
Ananyas Chintayanto Mam. Hari Om, everybody. Thank you for your
Hari Om,
patience.
Nana.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.